Viewers, with oil-rich East African country of South Sudan sliding into a civil war-like situation, the African Union has decided to send high-level mediation team. Now, this team will resolve issues between President Salva Kiir and Vice President there as well. Now, the violence has intensified between the government, force of President, and the armed groups loyal to the Vice President following the arrest of the Vice President. Here is a look. Take a look at this report for more.
The African Union has decided to send a high-level mediation team to crisis-ridden South Sudan to find solution to the ongoing instability in the country. The instability has been caused by the ongoing clashes between the government forces of President Salva Kiir and armed groups of his Vice President Rieck. Machar was detained by Kiir in March for instigating violence in Nasser in the northern part of the country. Since then, the clashes between the government forces and armed groups of Machar have intensified in the country. Machar heads the largest opposition group with an armed wing. The two opposing political leaders had last agreed on a ceasefire in 2018. The violence in the region has already displaced 50,000 people since late February. African Union has now urged South Sudanese political leaders to resolve the current disagreement through dialogue.
And thousands have marched on Rome to oppose the European Union's plans to increase military spending. The protest, led by at least five-star movement, called for diplomacy over defense and demanded a redirection of public funds towards essential services. Here's a report. Take a look.
In Rome, thousands took to the streets to protest against the rearmament of the European Union in a march organized by Italy's five-star movement, with support from civil society groups and citizens from across the country. Demonstrators opposed increases in European defense spending. They called on for the funds to be directed to address domestic priorities such as healthcare, education and social welfare.
Siamo in piazza per manifestare contro queste politiche che vengono decise sopra le teste della popolazione. Noi non vogliamo aspettare un anno e mezzo per una visita negli ospedali pubblici. Vogliamo migliorare la situazione della sanità pubblica, vogliamo che i soldi dei contribuenti vadano in questa direzione. Non vogliamo che vadano spese sprecate in armi.
The protest comes amid growing debate in Brussels over strengthening the EU's defense capabilities, particularly following Russia's invasion of Ukraine and rising tensions globally. Participants argued that investing in weapons contradicts the EU's founding principle and risks escalating global conflict. Several protesters also raised concerns over the condition of Italy's public services, particularly the strained healthcare system.
Noi pensiamo che semplicemente i soldi della comunità devono servire per la sanità e per cose che possono aiutare la comunità stessa. Non pensiamo che il riarmo e le armi possano aiutarci.
According to Eurostat, Italy is among the EU nations with one of the lowest ratios of healthcare funding relative to GDP, prompting demands for urgent reform. The five-star movement has positioned itself as a vocal critique of militarization within the EU, arguing that diplomacy and dialogue should remain the focus of international policy.